Hello everyone, welcome to another slightly late episode of Music of the Week. I almost said Back to the Future for some reason, but I have about 6 albums to go through for this one, so I will get through them as quickly as I can. Why is that making me laugh so much? We begin with Blink-182 and their newest album, One More Time. So this one kind of came out of nowhere. I heard one of the singles going into this one, sort of as a YouTube ad, weirdly, or it was a suggestion or something. Obviously, I clicked on it. Like Blink are one of the premier pop punk bands, like one of the first bands to really bring it to the mainstream, I think. And I'm giving this one the highest grade of the episode, which is an A-. I really liked Quillo. The elements of it I liked a lot. The songwriting, although considering there's 17 songs on this album, I could have done without the 2 weird joke songs that just didn't fucking need to be there. They just didn't. But the band do fucking great work together. My finger cracked there. Tom DeLonge has returned to the band as well, and his vocals are fantastic. Marco and his guitar work is still really good too. Mark Hoppus is still a really good singer himself and a really good bassist, and Travis Barker is, well, at least Travis fucking Barker. He's usually the best part about any musical project he's involved in. I like that lyrically wise it covers up pretty much the band's lives up until this point, the stuff they've gone through. Travis with his car crash, Tom with his personal troubles, Mark going through his cancer. Like, they don't skimp out on any of the subject matter. It's an even darker album in terms of that subject matter than Nine was, which had, like, themes of, you know, religious abuse, as, you know, it's very, very, very weird when Blink go to those places, but it's not completely unwelcome. Yeah, no, everyone's great, songwriting's great, lyrics are really good too. Production's really solid. This was the first one that Travis Barker has produced on his own, because before that it was either the entire band or they got in other producers to do it along with them. But yeah, this is Travis's first entirely solo mix, and he does a really good job. He brings out a lot of vibrancy in the sound, and yeah, fucking love how it feels, love the technical direction of it. Structurally wise, really good too. I like the addition of some, like, nice sort of synthy elements that really work with the band. It makes me wonder why they didn't try using it sooner. But the Blink-182 formula, still very much there, still very pop punk and catchy, but with a more mature take on things, so I recommend it the highest out of the entire episode, spoiler alert. It's really good stuff. We then get to Heart of a Coward and their newest album, This Plate Only Brings Death. This is a band, I covered their last album and I think I liked it. This one I didn't like as much, and weirdly enough, in contrast to the previous one, this gets the lowest grade of the episode, which is a straight up C. Now, it's a fine metalcore album, but it's not exactly something that blows my mind. I can't really think of what I don't like about it. I think the riffs are pretty good. I don't mind the performances. I think the production might be my main trouble. I think the lyricism is way too goddamn bleak. There are many themes and songs that touch on, like, depression and suicidal thoughts and death, and it's just like, you know, even the writing, like, even reading the lyrics, which are easy to find in the band's Bandcamp and I'm sure in other places as well, is just fucking grim stuff. And again, I would understand a bit more if they went a bit heavy with some songs, but, like, the tone just doesn't fit it either, and it's very, very weird. I think the performances are all right. I don't remember exactly who does what. I think the drummer was the one I named my standout. Production-wise, it's on Century Media. They don't really know how bands like this work sometimes, and I don't think that's the band's fault, although they've been signed to Century Media since they started putting out full-length albums, so it might be their fault. I think the structuring is only okay too. A lot of the pacing and construction is a little bit repetitive, and it does do this occasional fun trick where it actually does, like, end one song that leads into another song and it makes an occasionally good flow. They don't do it a whole lot, and it's not exactly a long album, so they could have stood to do it more to make it at least interesting. I don't know. It's not an inherently bad metalcore album, otherwise it would get like a D or lower, but it's one of the least interesting ones I've heard all year, and one of the most generic, which, again, is not the band's fault. The band actually do make an attempt, and the instrumentation is good in some areas, but they need to fucking ditch Century Media like yesterday. Or last century, rather. It's just not a good label for them. They need to change it up now. Next we have, interestingly, the only debut on this episode. We have Lathe of Heaven with their first album, Bound by Naked Skies. This is a post-punky, sort of new wavy sort of thing, and I'm giving this one a B-. I thought it had some really good elements of those genres, but it really stands out when it actually tries to pick up the pace, and it doesn't really do that often enough. I do find it sounding as good as post-punk slash new wave stuff can be, even as someone who finds that genre a little bit repetitive at times. It doesn't feel like the most unique within the style, but the band actually does some personality, and I love it works really well. So lyrical themes I couldn't really tell you. I think there's like maybe some concepts. It's weird because like the lyrics are very easy to find on the Genius page for the album, but like reading through it, it just feels like a bit esoteric and a bit weird in places. I didn't really fully follow it. Maybe there's like a story of a broken sort of friendship. I don't bloody know. The performances are good. I like most of the riff work. Production's alright. You know, it's got some really good highlights to it. It's probably the best thing about the album, actually, thinking back on it. And structurally wise, it feels a bit too uneven. You know, it doesn't really kick it into the high gear enough for my liking, and the much slower songs just don't have enough interesting going for them. I don't know. It feels a bit weird, but benefit of the doubt, it is a debut in a genre that can sort of sound the same to each other on occasion. So I'll give them that, and I am looking forward to the next one, but they better, you know, turn shit around, because it wasn't a horrible first effort, but there was clear room for improvement. Next we have Knucklepuck with their newest album, Losing What We Love, and I would like to call this and the next two albums I'm going to be covering sort of more of the same stuff from those bands or those genres in one of the album's cases, and, you know, not completely blowing me away, but still pretty good. This album gets a B+, I will admit. This is my second Knucklepuck album after 2020 back in 2020. I think it was 2020 or 2020 Vision. It was one of the two. I'll correct it, obviously. I thought it was a really solid bit of pop punky sort of emo stuff, though. It does push some boundaries in some areas, and it does have some really dark songwriting buried under the bright, vibrant, melodic pop punky stuff, and it's a style that Knucklepuck have always been really good at. I think it's really good from a performance standpoint, all the band members to actually put in a really good shift, as they typically do. Structurally wise, it's not horrible either. It does have some really good acoustic tracks on occasion that do build into more like electric ones, and I like when they mix that up a little bit. It's a good attempt, you know. Production wise, not bad either. It's on Pure Noise. That's always a fucking plus. I love that label. And yeah, instrumentally it's got some really good punchy riffs, and lyrically it is quite dark, dealing with mental anxiety, dealing with obviously the, you know, sort of post 2020 world that we're all still sort of living in. But it's not super exceptional in any of those areas. It's really, really good, and it's, you know, B+ is the second highest grade of the episode, by the way. But it's, you know, it's just kind of another Knucklepuck album, and that's not a bad thing. If you like Knucklepuck, you'll probably like this new album. Although, I do agree with some of the reviews saying that this is them trying to go into a new place. I would have liked it if they dipped both feet into that new place and tried something a bit more interesting, but as a building block, it does make me excited for the next album. So it does that at least, and it's really good for that alone. Next we have Nasty with their 8th album, Heartbreak Criminals. This is a band from Belgium, and I sort of came across them, I don't remember how, I think it was like a Spotify thing, because I was listening to a different album after that album was over, Nasty played, and yeah, this is the album Heartbreak Criminals, and I'm giving this one a B. It's a solid hardcore, punky, metalcore sort of band. Slight thrash elements here and there, but, you know, mostly a hardcore punk sort of vibe. It's about 23 minutes and 17 seconds long, and I know I don't normally put the timestamps on. It's got a lot of really good stuff going for it. It doesn't have really many long or memorable songs in terms of the structuring, but in terms of that structuring as well, it is fucking punchy and fast-paced, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a very fun-feeling hardcore punk album, not to the level of Avoid, because, God, I love the fucking way they do hardcore music, but Nasty do a really good attempt. I didn't mean to say do like that. I think the performances are pretty good. I think the instrumentation is really good, and I like a lot of the production. Where this one falls apart weirdly is the lyrics, because, as I mentioned, this is a band from Belgium, but it's not even that English is their second language, because Deathpill sort of had that same trouble because they're a band from the Ukraine, but they did most of their songs in English. However, I think it would have benefited them more if they did all their songs in Ukrainian, because only a couple of the songs were. None of the songs on this one are done in Belgian, and I really fucking wanted that. I wanted hardcore punk screaming in Belgian, and there's none of it on this album, and it's a bit baffling. And a lot of the English comes off as broken as a result, and I get it, that's not really the band's fault. But, you know, they should have just done it in the native language, because I think they would have been more comfortable with that. But that aside, it's not a super huge deal breaker, and there is some solid themes going, you know, of like friendship and sort of, you know, standing with your own people and stuff like that. The typical hardcore punk stuff. I could be not getting that right at all. I couldn't really find anything on theme, so I'm just judging from the lyrics I was able to find. But yeah, really solid bit of work this. Nothing new for the genre, but, you know, really fast and punchy in terms of its delivery. Surprisingly well executed. Not the most well thought out thing, but simple and unabashed hardcore punky, well performed and produced hardcore punky fun. And finally, the only band who have covered the entire discography of, not including EPs, Within Temptation with their newest album, Bleed Out. Now, as people know, I wasn't exactly kind to their last album back in 2019 because that album was really bad. I don't even remember the name of it, but this one I'm a bit more kind to. I'm giving this one also a B. It gets a B. I thought this was some really solid symphonic metal-y stuff. Dutch symphonic metal with a female lead singer. I think this is the band that made me fucking hate that particular subsect of it. Also, I just realised with this weird hair thing going on back there. But Within Temptation are like the OG. They're probably the band that brought it into the mainstream, I would say, especially for Western audiences. Well, I say for Western audiences, they're particularly from the West. For more English-speaking audiences, and there's some really solid stuff going on a thematic level. There's a lot of really good stuff about women's rights and oppression and the abortion law and LGBTQ supporting, and it's got a really good theme in theory, and it doesn't even use a lot of metaphor like their usual stuff typically does. It actually is a bit more direct and a little bit more dark and less forgiving in that way. And I was surprised to see to hear them take this route, honestly. Instrumentally wise, it's still really goddamn good in a lot of its areas as well. I like the riffs of the guitar, I like the keyboard work, I think the drums are really good. I like that we got more guitar solos. I wish we had a lot more on this album, because we sort of... We did need more. It's 47 minutes long. You couldn't have put in a couple more solos, maybe. I don't know. But I do like the attempts at including more like gothic and electronic elements. I actually think they work really well, and I wish the band would try this a bit more. Although they did try electronic stuff on their last album, it just didn't work as well on that one. I don't know what it is. It might be a production thing, speaking of, flawless segue. Production on this one, really good, really clean, very organic, nicely layered in a lot of places. Structurally wise, also quite good. I do think it ends on a bit of a down note with Entertain You. Like, I understand what the song is about, because it's actually got a really good theme, and the moment I can remember it will pop up in text form, but I feel like it was... I think it's like the shortest song on the album or something. And it was it was just not the right song to end the album on. But, you know, I still think it was... it's decent enough. I think most of the album up until that point is really good too. Performances as well. Oh my god, the performances is probably good too. Sharon Den Adele is still one of the best female vocalists in symphonic metal. And I've covered the production, lyricism, and instrumentation. And structuring. Yeah, really good pacing, really good mix of the experimentation that they attempt to do. So, really good album, a really good Within Temptation album. Sometimes you do need that in life. So, yeah, go give this one a spin when you can. It's really good stuff. And that'll about do it. As always, here is the sort of definitive ranking system that I do for each of these. So let me scroll up so I can remember some of the other albums. Okay, we have Blink-182 with... at the bottom... We have Heart of a Coward with This Place Only Brings Death, Lathe of Heaven with Burned by Naked Skies, Nasty with Heartbreak Criminals, Within Temptation with Bleed Out, Knucklepuck with Losing What We Love, and of course Blink-182 with One More Time. But as always, you should go and listen to all of these yourself and formulate your own opinions. And I would like to give a sort of new award if people really care, because no one watches these fucking videos, for favourite album cover, which goes to Within Temptation's Bleed Out. I just really like how awfully it is. I like the placement of the title and the of the album title and the band name. It's really good. There's even a nice one on the deluxe version that looks sick. So yeah, I thought I'd give that out as well. I'll about do it though. That's what's next from me. Tomorrow, likely a reaction and the go home show for Defy the Gods. Oh man, it's such a good card. I can't wait to air it. It's going to be proper good, and I'll see you all tomorrow for those two things. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.